just try that again. Let me just tweet this. Okay, so what were we doing? Oh yes, we had generated the code and we were doing the block. So let's do that. So we don't have, so it was npm init. So that asks the question, WP don't subscribe, version, blah, description, WordPress, learn, subscribe, shortcode, and block. And that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Don't care about keywords, just do my name. GPL, I'm just going to cheat outrageously and just copy this one. Never remember this format. There, GPL 2.0 or later. Yes. Okay, so now that that's done, now we can install the WordPress scripts package. Okay, so we'll install WordPress scripts package. There we go. And that takes some time. Yeah, so I'm thinking, I don't know, it's a tough one. That doesn't take too long, but the create block does, so we might run out of time. I will have to see how it goes. I'm going to use this opportunity to check out some other things. I don't understand Twitch, if I'm honest. Okay. It looks like this is the only one happening, so that's perfect. Okay. All right, let's check on the terminal. So that takes a while. Okay, well that's a good time to take a break, I guess. And I can chat while that's running. I can talk about things and I can do things, I guess. But I think the creating of the create to do block probably should have ready before we start. And then I can just run through that command. I wish there was a way to, I think there is a way to make the font sizes bigger, but that goes up to 18, I think is the next one, which is a bit big. So I leave it on 14. Anywho. Okay, so that's done. That wasn't too bad, so I can live with that. Okay, that's done. And then the next step, once I've done that, is to make the changes. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the package, we've got the node modules. Okay, so that's all good. Got the node modules directory, which contains all the dev dependencies, so that's good. Right. So the first step is to update the scripts. So if we go back to here, and under package reference WordPress scripts, which is down the bottom here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to copy this out into my link vault. There we go, and we can grab, oh, there's the line. That's what I was looking for. Okay. And we can grab this whole thing here. Grab the whole script section. Window. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to zoom in on my browser windows. But I'll do that live. Okay, so scripts we replace, and we must remember to leave the comma. That's good. Okay, so those scripts are all there, and then the other one is to update that to point to the build. I'm not mistaken. So let me just find that window. Yeah, so we update the main entry point to point to the build. Okay, so that updates this line. Done. Okay, so we've got that. Pointed to the build, that's good. Okay, so that's all ready. Cool. Now I need to register the block, which I think I'm going to try and live code as much as I can. So in the main plugin, it's going to be add action on the init hook. Okay, WPL subscribe block, that in quotes. And I'll just call it a init just for the sake of calling it something. And then we'll create the function. And then it's register block type. Okay, let's get that. And book entry to add to the link vault. Oh no, I don't think it'll be in here. It's in the function reference. Fine. No, where do I need to be now? There. No, link vault. There we go. Okay, so register block type. Right, register block type. And then we pass in the dir constant, which is the part of the current directory, so directory that contains this file. And we append build to that. We don't need all of that. Copilot, go away. Okay. So register the block type, pass it in the path to the build directory, which will get created eventually. So that's that done. And then the other thing we need to do is update the block. No, we don't. We don't need to do that. We can do our first build. Let's check here. Okay, so we've reached. We need to start creating the source files. That's right. And I recommend copying them over. So I'm going to copy over the src files from the scaffolded block to the learn subscribe block, so that it will give us block.json, edit, editor, index, da, 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 da. Good. Okay, then we need to update block.json. So let's give it the name. So I'm going to call it WP learn subscribe. I'm just going to go subscribe block. So that's going to be the sort of shortcode namespace, or the plugin namespace, if you will, and then that's the block, this block. So I'll just call it the subscribe block. That's fine. So we'll say WP learn subscribe block. I'm just going to go WP learn subscribe block. There, it's fine. I can chat about the category and the icon. I'm going to leave it as the smiley at the moment. need to update the text domain. That stays the same, that stays the same, that stays the same. Okay, that all changes. And then I might as well take out the editor styling now. And I might take out the styling, the front-end styling. That's fine. Okay, so I'll close that, and that. Okay, so the block JSON is updated, the package JSON is fine. And that's all good. That's all good. So we should be able to start editing files now. So I think what I'm going to do now is just make sure that this runs by running the build. Or at least starting the server. So let's start the development server. PM start, I think it is. And we should get everything built correctly. Yeah, that looks good. Compile successfully. Okay. Let's actually run this on the front end. So I don't need the shortcode anymore. I'm pretty sure I've got this in the second post. No, that's the first post. Do this. Okay, so there's no blocks there. So let's add the subscribe block at the top here. We search for subscribe. There it is. With the smiley. Okay, so it's WP learn to do hello from the editor, which is perfect. I'll just change that in the block, but that's fine. I don't care about that right now. And then if I preview this, there it is. Okay, so that's what I expect because it's copying over the code from the learn to do plugin. So if I go into edit.js, there it is, and that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm expecting. We're going to save.js, that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm expecting. Excellent. Okay. So now I want to copy over the HTML from the shortcode. So let's do that. So let's go here. So let's preview this. And I mentioned this in the video that it's easier. I find it easier to grab the HTML from here, just because I'm weird that way, I guess, as opposed to getting it from the PHP side. Because JSX and HTML is very similar. So I'm going to copy that over, and I'm going to work in the edit component. So that's the first one that I work with. And I'm going to just pop that HTML code in as is. And then I'm going to grab use block props on the container div. Here it's on the container paragraph tag, but I want this on the container div tag. So that can go there. And then I'm not going to do the translation now. I might mention this. I might mention this is a translatable string, and we're not going to do translatable strings in this session. I might come back to that if that's time, but I won't do that for now. Okay, so that can come out of there, and that can just be indented, and that should work. We might as well do the save function while we're here. So we'll just copy that for save, because save is doing exactly the same. Only difference is use block props save. And it might be worthwhile to go into why this is the case, which I don't have handy, but I do have from a conversation I had with somebody else the other day. So it might be worthwhile to find that conversation and remind myself So save is a function that defines how a block is going to be stored in the database, so it isn't an interactive React component. It's a function that might use JSX syntax, but no React hooks or any side effects to produce HTML output. When you save a block's HTML with save, you don't want to use it. You don't want it to use anything that produces a different result in subsequent runs. You always want to have the same output for one combination of attributes. That's why React hooks are not supported, or you shouldn't use external data sources. Okay. So that was the difference. So I might want to mention that. Okay. So that's cool. So again, same thing with the translations. Otherwise, that should all be good. So now we should have some outputs on our thing. Okay, we had some errors, which is great. I can mention about how you can check your build. And here it shows errors when I was fiddling around with save. It shows where the problem is because I had like an opening div. It was saying adjacent JSX elements must be wrapped in a closing tag. You can't have two top-level block elements or container elements or something. Can't remember the ins and outs of that, but that's basically what's going on there. So that's fine. That's all compiled. So that's cool. So let's have a look. So if I refresh, that's the shortcode. I don't want the shortcode. I want the other post. Okay, so this happens because the save function has changed. So this might be a good thing to actually leave. Note to self, this might be good for the block course as well. So this happens when the save function has been changed and the code in the edit function and the code in the save function are different. So the block editor is trying to load the code from the edit component, and the output from the edit component is different from what was saved. So it says a problem. And if you have a look at your dev tools, it'll actually show you that there was a block validation failed. So this might actually be a good thing to go through. It's a good thing that I did learn to do first. This is a useful point. So it shows you generated by save and retrieve from post, and those are different. You see this one had learned to do, and this one had other stuff. So this is a handy thing to be aware of and figure out and understand. So cool. So you can just do block recovery, and if your code is fine, it'll actually recover the block from the new probably save function. I must actually check on that one. Don't know, but it does work. So there is the new content. And if I preview this, it does work. It does what I need it to do, which is very cool. So that's awesome. And we still have another half an hour. So I could do the styling, which is kind of cool. So let's do that. So for the styling, if we go back to the block.json, you'll see that the editor style and style attributes are set to the index.css and style index.css files, which are built in there and there. These files are generated. I'm not going to be using PHP Store. I'm going to be using Visual Code Studio, where the font size is bigger. So if you can't read this, I apologize. But I plan to do that for a workshop. But these are created from the editor.scss file and the style.scss file, which are both Sass files. So I might as well link through from there now. See if we get to it. I should get to it if I'm able to run through this, depending on questions. So we'll see. I'm going to put your optional styling. Let's pop that one in. So this is using syntactically awesome style sheets. So it has all kinds of cool things like, I don't know, I don't use Sass myself much. Let's see if it's got a quick list. It has things like variables. You can do nesting. Nesting is quite cool. Nesting in Sass is pretty cool. You can actually target specific nested content. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that Sass does. But the other cool thing about Sass is you can just code regular CSS. So with that in mind, let us have a look at what is generated on the front end of our block. So if we go to the front end of our block, we see that let me just zoom in here a bit, 1, 2. So the point of this is that the block has a class called WP block, WP learn subscribe block. This part here is generated from the block name in the block.json file, and it's just prepended with that. So we know that this is a class that we can use. So if I copy that class name and I pop it in the editor.css, and there. Now I can add styling to this block. If I go back to my shortcode styling, I added a background color and padding to the block, so we can add that straight away there. I also added a bold font to the subscribe header, so we can copy that out, and then we just need to update the container div class. Because if we look at the shortcode, the class is that, but now it is this new class that the block generates. So we can copy this out and replace that there. We also need to apply the subscribe header class to the JSX code, which we do by using the class name attribute. So on the H2 in the shortcode, it wasn't there. Okay, just make sure it's there. I won't worry about it. I can always just add it. So something to note. So in JSX, you use class name and not a class attribute. And then you can pop the class name in like that. Now, I usually like to put my class names in the curly braces with quotes. Apparently you don't have to, so I'm going to test this out in a second. So I just want to copy the header out of here and put it in the save. So that that's the same there. And then I want to update the style.css file, which generates the front-end styling with, not that one, with the same, but then I want to change the color a little bit. So just for fun, I'm going to make the colors slightly different on the front end so we can see the difference. Let's make it, don't have that file with me. Let's see if I can find it off screen. Yeah, here it is. So let's go down and let's make it this color just for fun. And let's make the padding 50 pixels, and let's make the font style italic. Yeah, just so we can see the difference. So on the editor, it's the green color, padding of 10, bold. On the front end, it's also italic for the header, and then different padding in different colors. Okay, switching back to the terminal. That seems to all work fine. We've still got about 15 minutes left, so that's good. So we should be able to get the styling in, which is great. So that's all gone fine. So now let's switch back to the browser and refresh the post, which should do that because things have changed. So let's attempt that. Okay, so there we go. So it's italic. What went wrong there? Why did it do italic there as well? That's interesting. Oh, it loads both. I did not know that. I'm going to have to update my video. It loads the editor style and the front-end style in the editor. Huh. Okay, and if we preview it, then it just loads the front-end style. Interesting. Yeah, it just loads the front-end style. It doesn't load the editor. Okay, I'm going to have to update that video, and let's actually go and do that now. I don't mind people seeing this. This is all public anyway. So I'm going to just add myself a note. after reviewing this content for an online work. Okay, first let me just reply to Wes here. That, and then just say here, after reviewing this content for an online workshop, this video needs to be updated to include the fact that the editor and style, and the style files are enqueued in the editor. Okay. Cool. That was interesting. Glad I did this prep. So I think what we'll do for the workshop is we will do that. That's actually pretty cool because it shows what happens, and then we can make changes as we need to. So we could just take that out for now, just for the sake of fun and games. So that gets loaded on the front end, but also gets loaded here. And I wonder which one takes preference. So it looks like the editor takes preference. Yeah, which makes sense because the padding is taking preference. Okay, so the editor style sheet is loaded last, which is why, there we go, there's the editor, there's the style. So the editor is loaded last, which is why the padding takes effect. So I'm definitely going to need to change this. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to do starting for the front end and make changes for the back end, specific to showing it on the back end for whatever reason. Okay, cool. That was fun to discover. Awesome. Okay, well that I'm quite happy with that. Let's refresh this. Let's do a block recovery and let's update that. That's great. Let's close that. That's fine. And then we preview, new tab, preview, and it's green. It's padded, and there it's blue, and it's not padded. That's great. So that's your styling, and that's enough, I think, for today. It gives us about 10 minutes for breaks and other things. I definitely think I'm going to need to have the block created, because that takes a bit of time, but I will run through the process of not creating it. Okay, that's my bit for today. Thank you if you joined. If you didn't join, there's nobody around, fine. If you're still here, thanks for joining. I'm not going to ramble on for another 10 minutes. I've done what I needed to do. I need to do some... I could do that. Let's do some prep work. Let me delete learn subscribe. And then I will reinstall it. Go in here and remove, there's going to be an error, that's fine, keep it as HTML and then remove it. That's fine. And then let's add the base block again, or the plugin should I say. So basically I'm just resetting my development environment now, so it's ready for the workshop. No, it's on the desktop, dummy. Okay. I was going to upload this to YouTube. I'm not going to now because today was a bit of a mess around. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, the posts are there. That post is there. This is actually a good test to make sure I'm ready for the workshop, is check that everything still is back to default. That's there, which is perfect. I do have the Learn to Do plugin ready, so that's good. So I won't run that code. I will just show it to folks. Subscribe is back to normal. Happy days. Let's do the class now. So that's there, so that it renders correctly. Let's create a header. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. probably going to need to update that zip file, which is fine. So let me do that now quickly. Yeah, that broke, so that's fine. I use WPCLI to create my zips. There that is. Okay, and then let's go back to GitHub. It was WP learn subscribe. Block with styles, did I? Yes, yeah, I've done it. I should actually take this code and export it. Oh no, there's subscribe header. That's fine. Okay. So let's change the release. It's 1.1. Oh, good grief. Development, websites, WordPress, WP content, plugins, WP don't subscribe. Okay, there we go. I wonder if I can delete that. There, okay, that's fine. So can I override the same file name? Can I? Thank you. That's what I want. Okay. So let's double check that. Activate this and delete it. And let's grab a link. Wait, no, I need to copy the link. Copy link address, go back to my code. I hate the fact that I have to do this in slides, but anyway. So let's download this guy. Override the original one. Yes. Let's add plugin. Okay, let's see if that is the right code. Yes, it's got the subscribe header. Awesome. Okay, so that's the code I want. Learn to do is there. I'm not going to create it. It's there. It's fine. We can do the input and init. That's fine. That'll be a good chance for a break. I think we're good to go. Let me just check the posts. Make sure they are all clean. The second one has the subscribe, which is clean. That's great. The first one has that, which is perfect. And then I'm just going to delete this one. And I'm going to just edit this one. And I'm just going to go shortcode for my own sanity. I'm going to edit this one. And I'm going to block. Okay, cool. I think I'm ready. That's awesome. Well, if you're still around, thanks for joining. If you're not, all good. I don't even know how to check how many people are still around, if anybody is still around. But I'm going to sign off now. So thank you very much for watching. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'm going to do this again every week, hopefully. So I will see you next week.